Yes. Oh, there goes the James Bond video. Okay, let's record it again. Just remember everything you said the first time and say it all over again. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentleman. This will be another Geeky Gentleman Let's Play kind of thing where we do a podcast and I put some game footage up. So enjoy watching me play Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage after completing 100% of the game and getting the most OP game-breaking unlockable ever. Did you ever fully 100% Ripto's Rage, Steve?
I feel like I probably did, and I have no idea how long ago that was.
So you don't remember the bonus at all, do you?
No, what was the bonus?
I never 100%ed Ripto's Rage, or at least not to memory, because the bonus for getting everything is you get Eternal Super Flame Breath.
What?
It breaks the fucking game.
Well, of course it does.
Like, there's a mission in Ripto's Rage, and I'll probably play it in the video here. This will be the first thing I show, just because we're talking about it, where you gotta go, like, protect this dude from these rock monsters, and you can't kill the rock monsters with charge or anything. You can just knock them back a little bit, but you can kill them with Super Flame Breath. So I went and I killed them all with Super Flame Breath, and then I did the mission with the guy, so it's incredibly easy to get him to the place you're supposed to go. And then he frees Hunter, and then Hunter helps you kill him. But, like, since you've already killed them, it's literally 2 seconds and the mission's over. Because they're all dead. It breaks the fucking game so hard.
Damn. Oh, I really want to do that now. I have not played the Spyro games in so long.
So satisfying. So unbelievably satisfying.
I remember playing the first one on PS1 ages ago and getting... Because at that point, I didn't have a memory card. And I didn't know what a memory card was. So I just kept replaying the first level for several hours at a time, because at some point I'd have to turn the game off and start all over again.
Yeah. The Spyro was the second game I ever played, the first being Crash Bandicoot. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. Spyro would be the third to fourth game I ever played. I think I had, like, a demo of basketball on Sega Genesis. So first was Sonic 2. Second was probably the basketball game. And then third actual game was Crash 3 and then Spyro 1. Man, I love the Spyro franchise. I recently just replayed all of it because I've been watching this YouTuber, Ant Dude, who does some really cool game reviews, and he was talking about Spyro left and right, and I was just like, fuck it, I gotta do it. And I popped in the first game, and I 100%ed the first game in like 4 hours. And then I popped in the second game, I 100%ed that in a weekend. Then the third game is fucking difficult. The spike in difficulty is outrageous compared to the first two.
3 is the Year of the Dragon, right?
Yes, which actually came out in the Year of the Dragon.
Oh, of course it did.
Yeah. No, so, like, the third game, just tons more content, like, several hours to beat. Good 8-hour game, I think. Which is crazy for the PS1.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that was when they were starting to run out of ideas, because there's a skate park. Twice!
I remember that, actually.
Spyro's, like, if you look at the cover for Year of the Dragon, Spyro's on a skateboard, and it's, like, he's doing, like, an ollie or some shit. It's pretty ridiculous.
That's kind of adorable, though.
Yeah, they were very much running out of ideas. One of the like super high point moves you can do when you're trying to rack up points in the skate park is called the Nasty Nork, which is cute.
I think Spyro 3, more than any of the other ones, had like tons of fucking mini games all throughout.
Mm-hmm. It's all over the place, and some of them
obnoxious.
Yeah, some of them are obnoxious. Like playing as fucking Bentley is a nightmare.
Yeah. There was a couple of puzzles here and there where I feel like I don't think I ever actually beat Spyro thing. I think I got frustrated and gave up at some point.
Yeah, a lot of it's like surprisingly difficult. Like there's a puzzle in Spyro 2 where it's like 3, 2, 3. So there's 8 blocks, and you have to get them all to light up at the same time. And it doesn't matter how good you are at the game. It's just a bitch. Because every time you jump on one, 2 others shut off. Or you jump on one that's lit up and 2 others light on. But you turn that one off by jumping. I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? You gotta get the exact perfect pattern. It's a bitch.
Before I could just look up how to do things online, that game would have been way too frustrating.
Yeah. And I made it a point not to look things up as best I could, playing through all 3 games over the last couple of weeks. So I've just been playing through them all, or the original games, and it made me want to talk about Spyro. Which, of course, brings the ultimate question to bear. Do you know a damn thing about Spyro after the first 3 games?
No.
Same. Like, I know of them. I know of what happens in those. Like, I know the existence of Cinder. I have no idea what the story or anything is in any of those games. Like, which is crazy, because, like, the Legend of Spyro game, I've heard things about him, like, I actually am very, very curious about this, where they got David Spade to voice Sparks, and they got fucking Elijah Wood to voice Spyro. And I'm like, whoa, right? Like,
that's bizarre.
Right? It's like they put a lot of work into that thing. And it makes me kind of sort of want to figure it out, though. Like, I know a lot of the younger fan base really loves that series, the Legend of Spyro games, and that's where, like, Cinder's introduced and stuff. And I never played those because I outgrew Spyro by that point when those were coming out. Those are like mid to late 2000s games.
That's interesting, because I remember there was talk of another Spyro game coming out that was going to be more like fairy tale based.
Mm-hmm.
And that got canceled, and I wonder if that was going to be another reboot or a continuation.
I don't know. Yeah, Legend of Spyro, I know, like, the basic premise is, like, a rare purple dragon was born, and it's Spyro, and he's, like, destined to do all this stuff, which is interesting because I feel like they were actually pulling up some stuff from the first game. Like, one of the dragons you free, he says something to you of the effect of, "You're really proving everything we've ever thought about you, Spyro." It's like, well, that makes it sound fucking epic, doesn't it?
I'm curious, because I didn't know what the reception was to a lot of the Legend of Spyro games. Apparently, IGN called The Eternal Night pointlessly difficult.
Oh, really?
Now I kind of want to play it.
Right? And those are all PS2 era, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they'd
PS2.
have to be.
Yeah. I wonder if that was when, like, because the whole debacle with Insomniac and Universal Games, the exact same thing that happened with Crash Bandicoot, wherein Universal was kind of just taking, and so I think all the Legend of Spyro games might be on PS2 and, like, GameCube, and maybe even Xbox.
Ooh, this is interesting. Apparently Eternal Night introduced an ability where Spyro could, like, slow down time, kind of like Light Jack.
Okay. That's interesting.
That also sounds like pointlessly difficult, though.
Yeah. Like, I remember hearing one of the games kind of felt like a God of War style beat 'em up. Like, and that's where you're already working with Cinder. So, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do that with Spyro, but I'm curious about the first game, if nothing else. If I find... Or here, let me put this one out there and see if this literally ever happens. If anyone wants to send me a copy of Spyro, or the Legend of Spyro, the first game, or all of the games, I will play them. If anyone wants to offer, leave a comment. We'll get in touch.
I mean, I'd be down to watch you play those games. I'm really curious what they're like. Because I have not gone back to Spyro since I was a kid. Like, everything about those games, I'm just, like, trying to dig through the catacombs of my memories.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I picked something you're completely unprepared for. Yes!
I have no deep, insightful, interesting thing to say about Spyro other than he's kind of adorable.
Oh, he is. He's like it's so funny, because, I didn't think about it. I didn't have a sister or anything growing up, so I didn't play Spyro with anyone to notice the adorableness of it, but I played through the games, and Haley's sitting there watching me. She's like, "Oh my god, he's so cute. He does his little trot, and he makes little pitter-patter noises."
Right? So fucking cute. He sticks his little head up when he's pissed off. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's interesting. Spyro is kind of like this, one of the few video game characters who I think has the boy and girl appeal. like, there's a lot of things where, like, they do stuff in a game by giving you an alternate character that, like, you know, for the girls to play kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Crash does that with Coco in some of the stuff.
Donkey Kong does this.
Yeah, Donkey Kong does it. Princess Peach is playable in a bunch of different games. But Spyro, just as a singular character, he is a boy, so, like, boys kind of identify with him, and girls find him cute. And so he's got that interesting little, like, double appeal thing that I feel is reasonably rare with video games. Like, boys are like, yeah, kick ass, it's a dragon! And girls are like, oh my god, he's such a cute little dragon.
Well, that's the other thing about the Spyro games in general, is that the world never, at least the first three, I don't know about the later ones, but at least the first three, the world never felt like it needed to be aggressively masculine and fucked up like a lot of other video games do. Like, as much as I love the Jak and Daxter games, by the time you get to the second game, it's a really dark nightmare kind of badass world, for lack of a better word. And Spyro's not. Spyro's always just kind of been cutesy and fun puzzle solving.
Yeah, for the original trilogy definitely was. Though there's a little bit of like a dark edge under, or not even a dark edge, like a little bit of a rascal edge under it, I think would be the best word for it.
There's a rascal edge on the bottom of this purple dragon. It's kind of adorable.
Yeah, like the health, the way you get health, which, by the way, in the first three games, is the most nightmarish way to get health in a game ever. You have to kill a thing that runs away from you to get health. That's bullshit. Name another fucking game that does that. It doesn't sit there. It's easier to kill than most things, but it will actively avoid you. When you get a flying health enemy to kill to get more health, they are a nightmare. Okay? And I say this as an adult. They are a nightmare. I can't imagine how I pulled this shit off as a kid. But anyway, like, some of the health enemies are like, it's whatever. It's just, like, random, you know, kind of animal. But then other times, they make the health enemies legit adorable. Like, there's a snow level, and the health enemies are walking snowballs with eyes. That is the cutest thing ever. And you have to murder it to get it to turn into a butterfly so you can get health.
I swear, as a kid, there was a huge market for Spyro plushies that never seemed like it was tapped into.
I will never understand why you couldn't get Spyro action figures. Oh, actually, this is a really funny story. I will never understand why you couldn't get video game action figures growing up. Like, they were so far and few between, right?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I wanted a Jack figure so bad it does not exist.
Yeah, I never got a Sonic figure when I was a kid. Like, I made my own out of, like, cardboard that I spray painted blue.
Me too.
Shit. Yeah, it was garbage. But, like, you know, I wanted a Spyro figure growing up, and there was, like, a Burger King toy somewhere along the line, and it was shit, but whatever. It was a Spyro figure. So I wanted one growing up all the time, and then, like, for whatever reason, I completely missed the existence of Skylanders. Like, I knew that Skylanders was a thing, but I didn't realize it was a thing spun out of Spyro.
Wait,
so,
really?
like, yeah, for the longest time, I just didn't know that this was a thing, that Spyro had figures out there. So I was like, oh, hey, Haley, you and I need to go get me a Spyro action figure. So we drive to Toys R Us, and we go in, and we're like, walking around, trying to figure it out on our own like you do when you go into a store, and we can't find them anywhere, we can't find Skylanders. So we ask an employee, and they walk us over and show us where to go. And there are two people at the Skylanders thing, like two parents, and they're picking up a bunch of them because they're apparently getting their kid a bunch. And they go, oh, and here's a Spyro for him. I finally found one. And they take it off the thing. Right as I'm walking up to it, they take it off the thing and put it in the rack, and that's all I hear them say. Oh, there's the Spyro he wanted. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking. They took the last fucking Spyro, dude. If I were a kid, I would have bawled my fucking eyes out. It hurt.
Adorable.
Yeah, so I ended up finally getting a Spyro Skylander. So after decades, young Ian, rest easy. You have a Spyro action figure.
I did that at one point. It wasn't Spyro, because when I was a kid, the thing I wanted more than anything was a particular model kit from Zoids, and then like when I was 19, I finally bought one on eBay, and it made me so happy.
Yay.
Those kinds of joys never go away.
I know. Fuck it. Okay, what else was Spyro?
Is Spyro 2 the best game? I feel like that's not really up for debate, and it is.
It is, clearly. It's the game where you're doing the most as Spyro. You get a couple little things as Hunter here and there. But the third game, you could tell they're really running out of ideas of what to do with them, which is why you get all the other characters and stuff, and those all feel like half-finished games for their levels.
So, let me ask, just because I'm curious now, why did you decide to pick Spyro as a character discussion as opposed to just a topic of some kind later?
I don't know, just like it felt like it was worth talking about Spyro as a character. Like, he doesn't have much of a character. Hey, Spyro, Nasty Nork froze all the dragons. You gotta go save them all. But make smart-ass comments along the way. Okay, I can do that. I have a terrible voice in the first game. And then, you know, it's just, there's not much character to him. He's kind of like the guy who kind of reluctantly takes on doing the job because he's the only one that can do it right.
That's fair. I mean, there was always a kind of, like, fun, quirky, not really a destiny plot in those first games I liked a lot.
Yeah, it's there, but like they don't really have the complicated storytelling down, so they just kind of let you do your thing.
Which I was fine with. I don't need a narratively complex Spyro game.
Mm-hmm. Which makes me, again, really curious about The Legend of Spyro, because fucking Elijah Wood as Spyro, keep in mind, this is post-Lord of the Rings, is really interesting to me. But, I don't know, like, the character, it's there, it's very much, it lets you put yourself in the shoes. Like, particularly with some of the things that the characters will say, they won't necessarily say hi Spyro a lot. They do a little bit, but they use a lot of you. Yeah. Which really, like, it really makes it feel second person. Like, it really makes you feel like you're the one doing all these things. And you know, the game just goes so far as to actually congratulate you for things. And that feels really good when you're a kid, especially. Like, there's a really, really just nightmare thing to get to some dragons in the first game. And when you free the dragon, he doesn't just say, "Thank you for releasing me." The nightmare dragons that it takes to get to, they'll go, "Oh, really? That was some really impressive flying. Good job." Like, that feels really good in a way that, like, getting obscure rewards never quite does.
Yeah, I mean, that feels nice in a way that just, like, achievement unlocked never will.
Yeah, definitely. So, a lot of that stuff, I don't know, man. Like, Spyro doesn't have a ton of character, and he's mainly, you know, he's a video game character. You can debate how much character any of them truly have, particularly in that era, but he's a character designed definitely for littler kids, so you just kind of identify with him, but it sticks with you, I think. You're saying you're grasping at memories here, but it doesn't sound like it. It left quite an impression on you, if nothing else.
No, I mean, it absolutely did. Spyro... Okay. So if you know I like Yu-Gi-Oh!, you also know that I'm, like, fucking obsessed with Blue Eyes White Dragons because Kaiba was hilarious. Mm-hmm. But also Blue Eyes White Dragons are the greatest things ever, even though they're terrible cards to use. Based on this conversation, I'm convinced that part of the reason I like dragons as much as I do is because of Spyro.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things, like, it just puts a coolness to it.
And it's nice that he's not like a crazy edgelord dragon like the Blue Eyes. He's just a quirky little tiny purple thing with yellow wings, and it's cute, and I love it.
Yeah, it's cute, it's fun, and again, he's got that snarkiness to him. Like, one of the things that cracked me up in the first game, replaying it, is you release one of the dragons, and it's like clearly an old dragon. He's like, "Oh, Spyro, let me tell you a story of when I was a young dragon. Don't have time, I gotta go free them other dragons." It's just that right level of attitude and snark to it that makes it really fun. So, I don't know, Spyro's an interesting character. There's a lot of the world building around Spyro that's really fascinating. Like, I I remember one of the missions, you go and, like, you talk to the professor and you do the mission, he gives you the thing, and then if you can always talk to them again and they'll say something kind of, they'll, like, just stupid jokes. And then one of the ones the professor asks you, like, I'm all done with giving you orbs, but if you know the square root of 64, please come back to me. And, like, when I'm a kid, the square root of just sounds like the most, impressive mathematical kind of calculations. But when you become an adult, you're like, what the fuck, dude? You should know this.
Here's a really obscure random math problem that guards an ancient passageway.
So, I don't know, stuff like that. I think Ripto is a really cool villain, just on premise alone. Do you know how Ripto got his name?
No, I was just thinking in my head of how Ripto was so much more interesting and had more personality than Clockwork.
Ooh, no, fighting words. No.
Really?
No.
You like Clockwork?
Oh, I love Clockwork. No, but Ripto I think is interesting because the box art for the Japanese release of Spyro, it spells out Spyro's name in Japanese, but the way they did the characters, it looks like the word Ripto in English.
Oh.
So they decided to save that and use it for the character's name.
That's cool.
Yeah. Spyro's kind of the way he got his name is really interesting because they were going to call him Pyro the Dragon for the longest time, and they, like, that sounded too edgy or whatever, so they're just like, Spyro. They just threw the S on it. I don't know, there's a lot of things, like, Spyro's just one of those really well-designed characters. I don't know if you know this, but it was designed by the same guy who designed Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Naughty Dog and Insomniac should just combine at this point, because they share so much over the years. I don't know, like, there's a lot to like about Spyro for me. The second game, Ripto's Rage, is just completely the best. It has an amazing boss fight with Ripto at the end, where you swallow all these orbs that give you special powers to hit him with, and it's just really satisfying because you can... No other boss fight just lets you go up and hit the character with your normal attacks like that. You can do it, it just doesn't affect anything. So it's just, I don't know, something's really satisfying about that. You make that boss fight last for hours if you could manage to stay alive the whole time.
That does sound like a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I like this about it. There's just cool things going on.
Yeah, I feel like Spyro, as opposed to some of the other games from that era, is a really good stress reliever.
Yeah, it's just easy enough that you can unwind, but there are challenges in the games that can take a lot of real skill. Which is nice.
It doesn't dig into you for a kind of aggression that's required to play the game accurately.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike first-person shooters, if you're not into it, you aren't winning, and same with fighters, in a way that doesn't seem to be there with Spyro.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, it's a very good unwinding kind of game. Which is why it was really, really good for me as a kid,
Yeah.
I've never been really great at video games, but I love, the whole exploration thing. And it felt like a whole world. You actually felt like you were making a difference and helping things along. And then the challenges were just challenging enough that it was really, really satisfying as a kid to be able to beat them. It's satisfying as an adult, to be perfectly honest, but with that little bit of shame that you feel good that you did good at this game that's clearly designed for children. I don't know. Then there's just a lot of really well done gameplay mechanics in those first two games and parts of the third. Like the egg thieves. You remember those?
Yeah.
Those guys, damn. It's really, really satisfying to chase those guys down. Because you got to really perfect getting around corners and learning the pattern and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's really satisfying. I love the 100% room in the first game because you have to chase 4 thieves down and they get progressively harder.
I don't know if I 100% of the first game, now that you're mentioning that.
First game's the clunkiest. I hate the boss fights in the first game. Like all the boss fights are like you just got to get close and flame them once, and then it's pretty much done. It requires very little strategy or like special circumstance.
It does feel a little empty in the first game. The second game, the second games with a lot of these kinds of franchises always seem to be like the most standoffish and the best, like Jak 2 and Uncharted 2 and Crash 2.
Yeah, all of them are just marked improvements. It's just one of those things about games in that era. Like, they were still learning with the whole 3D thing, and Spyro does some really impressive things as far as just design-wise, because Spyro, you get up to a high point, you can glide anywhere. It's just a matter if you can make it there.
Yeah.
And so the levels had to have a lot of smart design put into them for that reason. And so it becomes very, very satisfying to play. It is one of those few games where it doesn't feel rushed or lazy or thrown together kind of things, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
So you and I both really like the second game. Do you have a favorite character in the Spyro mythos besides Spyro?
Honestly, I don't know if I remember anything clearly enough to have another favorite character.
Okay. Because I really like Ripto. Hunter, I cannot stand sometimes. Hunter actively annoys the hell out of me.
That's fair.
So I don't care for him. Moneybags is infuriating, but he's supposed to be. But he's evil. I feel like Moneybags created a generation of communists. Because he's just this price gouging bastard.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as Monopoly being developed by a socialist so he could show how dumb and repetitive capitalism was.
Yeah, but then it backfired and it became a really popular game that sold a bunch.
Not saying he was a good socialist. I appreciate the effort, though.
Yeah, well, Moneybags is really satisfying in the third game because once you've bought all the treasure from him, bought all the things from him, you encounter him in the last home world, and you get to chase him down and hit him and get all your treasure back.
Well, and he, if I remember right, like intermittently taunts you a lot every time you do something right, and that was always really satisfying.
Yeah, like when you buy things, he's like, "Oh, there's a sucker born every minute." I mean, another wise investment, Spyro. Like, so stuff like that's really funny. One line he had that cracked me up is like, "Spyro, where are you getting all these gems from? It's as if they're just lying around." Are they? And literally treasure everywhere. I also love about Spyro that he's a dragon and you collect treasure. That is a joke that never got to me as a kid, but as an adult, that's genius.
Oh my god, I just got it.
Oh wow. There you go. Congratulations, Steve. Oh. Lots of stuff with that about Spyro. Just, it's one of those just perfectly designed things. The sound design in the Spyro games is beautiful. I love Spyro.
And especially for their era, I thought they looked really good.
Mm-hmm. I think they don't necessarily hold up if you look at them by today's standards, but...
Well, no, but...
For the time, the particular direction in what they were trying to make... Like, it looks a lot better. It's still very much, like, everything looks like what it's supposed to be, which is not something you could say about, like, the original Resident Evil.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, not doing that whole bloody shoot-'em-up kind of thing, being more inventive and imaginative with your games, it makes them hold up a lot more over time. Like, does anyone go back and play the first Call of Duty?
They shouldn't.
Yeah. It's
not a very good game.
Yeah, and like it's just
even for its era, it's not a very good game.
Yeah, it just doesn't look very good by today's standards. I don't know what What are like other shooters that were like the hot shit when they came out, and now they're just nothing? Like the original Maddens don't hold up at all.
Yeah.
Those are complete garbage, and yet it's the hottest selling game every year. But it's like every year it's just the same thing, and it's not going to hold up in a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, when you very specifically design games to come out on that weird clockwork cycle, you have a genuine problem of, like, how much do you plan to incorporate so you can get it out on time? And the answer is very little because you only have a year to produce it.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, these old platformers like Spyro are just damn perfect. So let's go ahead and go through recommendations. I'm going to cheat. I recommend Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, and Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon.
I'm going to recommend those three in opposite order.
I also recommend...
Okay. I haven't read these, but I'm going to recommend them anyway because I'm going to assume they're like Looney Tunes in that there's no bad ones. I remember at one point I did have a Spyro comic book.
There's Spyro comic books?
I know there's at least one because I had it and I read the shit out of it as a kid.
Oh my god!
And I'm going to assume there are more, and they're all good.
Okay. Yep. Need it in my life.
Yes. Absolutely.
Thank you, Steve, for making me spend more money that I don't need to be spending. Oh wow. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna have to go get that. That sounds exciting. All right. Let's see here. Next week, Deadpool Zola and I will be talking about Xenomorphs because he got me to do a video with him on that. But Steve, what will the next episode after that be?
Next episode after Xenomorphs will be...
We just discussed how you should be thinking of these.
To be fair, you didn't give me time since we record all of these back-to-back. Shatter the Illusion.
Shatter the Illusion.
Destroy
Pay no attention to the backseat behind the curtain.
Ooh, that might be... Nah, I don't have a lot to say on that one.
You don't want to talk about the great and powerful Oz?
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say. Like, there's the movie, there's the books, and there's that really bad James Franco movie. How about... Maybe we can bring on Ruben for this. How about we talk about Merlin?
Oh, okay. That sounds exciting. All right, cool. I'm done for that.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I am the Exile.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.